Hello, everybody. Welcome to sportsreview.com. I'm Natalie Rydstrom, now previewing Week 36 Championship taking place over Tuesday. Returning guest Simon from Need for Tips. And then we've got Martin Green, sportswriter. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Interesting.
Anytime.
Interesting round of fixtures. I have to say there were some really tricky ones to call. I think this week it's a bit difficult. So if you're going in order of the fixture list, I think the ones at the top of the list are pretty difficult, and there's some value to be had further down. But interesting to see how we get on.
Yeah, I don't feel like really I feel like confident, but not like really confident. Not like I did like last time. How are you feeling, Simon?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, again, I've got a few skips, probably the first few, but I've got a few value bets as well. So quietly confident, yeah, definitely.
Quietly confident. All right, so on we go. All quietly confident. We did well in week 35, so let's see if we can. Continue. All right, starting with Derby County versus Preston North End. Is that the first one? We'd start. Yeah, that is the first one. Derby County versus Preston North End, Derby 2, draw 3.6, Preston 4.3. All these odds with bet 365. You've got 10th and 9th, not much between these two. I'm sort of leaning towards the home side, to be honest with you, but a little bit worried of that draw. This one is a pass for me. Simon.
Yeah, Derby really inconsistent side, but they are unbeaten in 12 out of 13 at home. Average away from home. I think Darren Bent should come back in for Derby, so I'm definitely leaning towards Derby. But as you say, it's a difficult one to call, so I'm probably going to have a small stake on the Derby win at even money.
Yeah. What about you, Martin?
I'd be leaning towards Derby, but I'm afraid this one has to be a pass from me. I can't really separate them. Derby got a great win against Norwich in their last game, but it was their first win in a long time. They're pretty inconsistent, as are Preston, who are pretty hit and miss on the road. So yeah, pass for me.
All right, so we've got a lean on Derby, but moving on, let's see if we've got some bets we feel more confident about. Fulham versus Leeds. Fulham 1.85, draw 4, Leeds 4.6. Again, not much between these two, but we do see goals when they meet, and boy, do they have goals in them. I do like the over 2.5 goals in this match. I have to say 1.73, and both teams to score 1.7. What do you go for, Simon?
Yeah, I really like that as well. I actually got that at even money. Both teams are scoring over 2.5. I think it's a huge game for both sides. Fulham just outside the playoffs. Leeds, obviously, they'll be looking at Brighton and Huddersfield now and thinking, can we actually get into the automatic places? On the last 4 at the Cottage, but I think both teams to score an over 2.5 has happened 7 out of 8, and it seems to be a very big bet for Fulham this season. And Leeds haven't kept a clean sheet in 14 away competitive matches, so definitely both teams to score. I fancy that they'll both go for it. I think over 2.5. And I'll also have a little bit on Chris Wood. I think he's in great form. He got 2 more at Birmingham. Chris Wood to score any time for Leeds at 2.3 as well.
Okay, yeah, definitely with the goals. Martin, are you with us on this one? Are you expecting goals in this fixture?
I am with you on that one. Yes, I like that bet, and I've written that one down myself. I think it's an interesting game because Fulham are really looking like they might have a tilt at the playoff places, whereas Leeds are also playing fantastically well. They're just 1 point behind Huddersfield now, and they are decent on the road. They've won 8 games away from home already. So I think that the odds actually on Leeds are amazing for a team that are in 4th place. I'd be tempted to have a little flutter on Leeds draw double chance at 2.05 as well. That looks interesting. To cover them for win and the draw at better than evens, I think is worth a go.
Yeah, pretty matched if you compare their home and away record for sure. Another bet, Fulham scored 34 goals at home, quite a number there. Fulham to score over 1.5 goals comes in 1.75, so not a bad bet as well. So quite a few bets there, focusing on the goals. Huddersfield versus Aston Villa. Huddersfield 2.05, draw 3.3. Aston Villa 4.5. Really, one would think, let's go for Huddersfield. It is a must-win, but they seem to be struggling, Huddersfield, right now. They've only won one match in 5, whereas Aston Villa, things seem to be picking up for the Villains. 3 back-to-back wins now. I'm a little bit nervous to play the outrights, even though on paper it would be the Huddersfield win. You've got 12 home wins compared to 3 away wins, but I don't know, all is not what it seems. What are you going for, Simon?
Villa obviously won 3 out of 3. They've kept clean 3 clean sheets as well. They're 13th in the table, but I think that's misleading now. I've been talking about Villa for a while. You know, they've brought in a lot of players in January. They're really a top 6 side. And I actually think they could go and get a result at Huddersfield. Huddersfield have got those 12 wins, but, you know, they've got a game in hand. They need to win that. I just think that Villa can really go there. I think they're looking solid. I really like the look of Villa +1. I think that's only about 1.45, but maybe for an ACCA, don't generally beat sides by more than 1 goal. But I think that Villa, I'm going to push it a bit more. I'm going to go for Villa double chance. I got 1.9 on that. I think it's dropped a bit, but I think that's a really good bet there.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all, especially basically. This is a must-win, though, for Huddersfield. They've really got to pick things up. You know, they're letting things slip. What are you going for, Martin?
Yeah, you mentioned that Huddersfield have only won 1 in 5, but I would point out that 2 of those games were against Man City, one of the best teams in the Premiership, which is hard going if you're.
Well, sometimes they are. They weren't last weekend.
No, that's true. That's true. Let a few people down there. I think Huddersfield can do it. I think they can get back. I'm with Simon on that Aston Villa are better than their place in the league suggests. I think they're going to have a good second half to the season, but 3 wins in a row is good for them. And I think this could be ended now by Huddersfield, who their confidence was knocked by that 5-0 defeat against Man City. They lost to Newcastle, but I think this is a good game for them to get back to winning ways. So I'm going Huddersfield, 2.05.
Okay, so you're taking that Huddersfield win. One bet that I was looking at, it's a lean though, it's not official, Huddersfield to score over 1.5 goals. I wonder where we are going to see some fixtures in this match. They do score, Huddersfield, and Aston Villa concede. 2.3 you get. Something I'm looking at, but I don't think I'm going to take. Birmingham City versus Wigan Athletic. Birmingham 2.3, draw 3.25, and Wigan 3.5. Both teams hit or miss. Very few goals with these 2 teams. This is a lean, not high value, but under 2.5 goals in this match. 1.6 is what I'm thinking. Martin, what do you like?
Oh, this is one of the ones I didn't particularly like the look of. There's a few games this week where there's a couple of poor teams against one another or a couple of good teams against one another where it's hard to split them. This is one of them. But I've watched Wigan a couple of times lately and I've been very underwhelmed. So I would think Birmingham could get something out of this. Birmingham draw no bet, 1.6.
Not bad at all at home, and better home defence than Wigan on the road. 7 wins, 4 for Wigan on the road. Simon, what do you like?
Yeah, I like Martin's bet. I think that Birmingham, you know, they've been terrible. They only got about 3 wins under Zola in about 14 games. But Wigan's problem, obviously, they don't score goals. But having said that, they concede many either. They're not the worst in the league by far for conceding goals. They usually, you know, they'll lose like 1-0 or 2-1, usually by the odd goal. So that game, Birmingham have got a couple of players coming back. I think Lucas Djukovic could be starting, and he's got 10 goals this season. So I'm leaning towards a narrow win for Birmingham. Price as well at 2.3. So I'm going to have a little stake on that.
Yeah. What about the goals? If you had to play the over or under, which way would you go?
I'd go unders, but I hate unders, but I would go unders in that game.
Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed for my bet then. Blackburn versus Cardiff. Blackburn 2.8, Cardiff 2.8, draw 3.3. Obviously, Blackburn seem to be on a winning streak after sacking their manager. And I'm just thinking, should we play Blackburn or certainly Blackburn draw no bet? Blackburn 2.8, Blackburn draw no bet 1.92. What are you going for, Simon?
Possibly. I think obviously they've improved under Tony Mowbray. Conceded just 1 goal in 3 games, 2 1-0 wins against Derby and Wigan. But Cardiff are a really unpredictable side. You know, they lost on Saturday at QPR. That's probably ended their playoff hopes. But, you know, Warnock's building for next season now, and that makes them really unpredictable. Against the side, I think Blackburn should stay up. But for me, this is a skip because I just don't think, can't see which way it's going to go. As I say, Cardiff are just too unpredictable. So I'm not going to tip for this one.
Right. What about you, Martin? Is this a skip or a play?
More of a lean for me, I think. I'd be leaning towards I think the draw looks interesting at 3.3. Small stake on that. Can't really split these two sides. Obviously, Cardiff are the better team, but playing away from home, they're not in very good form. They've already lost 8 times on the road this season. Blackburn are okay in front of their home fans. I just think these two could cancel each other out and it ends in a boring draw. So 3.3 on the draw looks okay to me.
All right, so going for that straight draw. My bet actually is both teams to score. Both have scored in their past 5 matches. I think we're going to see a goal from either side. I think we could also see the draw in this match. So both teams to score is my official bet here, 1.9. Bristol City versus Norwich City. This is a pass for me. Norwich 2.55, Bristol 2.9, and then the draw 3.5. Bristol 22nd with 7 home wins, 8 Norwich, 4 wins on the road. Leans on goals, though, I have to say. That's if I had to have a lean, over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, and with the bookies here, both teams to score 1.65. What do you like in this match, Martin?
I like both teams to score in this match. It's not always the case with Bristol City. They've failed to score a few times recently, but in front of their home fans, they normally score. And while Norwich haven't been playing particularly well of late, they have been scoring quite a lot in their games. I think their confidence will have taken a real knock after that 5-1 defeat last time out. But they're playing against an out-of-sorts Bristol City side. I think this one could end up as a draw again, maybe 1-1 or something like that, or maybe someone could sneak it 2-1. So both teams to score at 1.65 looks a good bet to me here. All
right, going for that both teams to score bet. What about you, Simon?
Finding this one a tough one to call. Norwich are terrible away from home. They've won, I think, just 4 away games this season, only 1 in 12. Playoff hopes just about gone. City, they've won 1 in 16, I think, and 1 in 8 at home. That was against Rotherham. It was against Burton on Saturday. They missed a penalty. I don't know which way. You know, it'd be 0-0, 1-0, 2-2. I really couldn't. I don't know. So I'm just going to skip that one.
All right, so it's a straight up skip. Sometimes skipping is the best solution if you don't feel comfortable and if you don't feel sure. There are plenty of other games to bet on. Ipswich versus Wolves. Wolves 2.8, Ipswich 2.7, and draw 3.3. Both teams in very bad form. Also, Wolves 5 straight losses in a row. Ipswich 4 draws in a row. This one is a pass for me, I'm afraid, but sort of looking at a draw. What are you going for, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, Wolves, they've lost their last 6. They're just 1 above the drop zone.
Yeah.
They're unlucky at Reading. They had a player sent off. You look at Ipswich, they are unbeaten in 6 and they've had 5 draws and 1 win. But then if you look at the draws, I mean, they were against Reading, Norwich away, obviously. Of their opponents, maybe they can step up and win this one. I'm definitely leaning towards Ipswich, but Wolves are obviously fighting for their lives. If they're better away from home, really good for draw no bet, or I even found 0 on the Asian at 1.97 for Ipswich. I'm going to go for that.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. What about you, Martin?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. Ipswich are becoming the draw kings of the Championship. 4 draws in a row is very strange form, but like Simon says, it's come against good teams. But Wolves, while they have the worst home record in the league, they'd be mid-table if you only took away form. So they are dangerous on the road. and Ipswich have only won 33% of their home games. So it's all looking like it could point to a draw, but I don't think Wolves can win this one. So
No.
I'd look for Ipswich draw no bet at 1.91, or if you're really playing it safe, double chance at 1.5.
Yeah. Are any of these official, or these ones leans?
Oh, official bet, Ipswich draw double chance 1.5. Can't see you going wrong with that.
All right, there we go. Nottingham versus Brentford. Nottingham 2.6, Brentford 2.8, draw 3.9. Little bit surprised by the odds on this one, to be honest with you. Obviously 18th and 19th, but it's Nottingham's away form that's really letting them down. Their home form is not. 9 wins. Burton have just picked up 2 on the road. They beat second place Brighton last weekend. Nottingham win for me. I can't really see much past that bet. What are you going for, Martin?
How did Nottingham Forest beat Brighton 3-0 last weekend? I don't think anyone could have predicted that. They were in horrible, horrible form, 1 point from 4 games, and then they just beat the team the second in the league, really, really comfortably. I think that will have given them a lot of confidence going into this game against an average Brentford side. I think they can win it. I'd like to cover myself with a draw no bet again. Odds on a draw no bet for Nottingham Forest 1.9 looks very attractive to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's enough value in that. I love the draw no bet, to be honest, especially when you've got enough value of around that 1.9. You may as well take it. It's almost as like a safety net. What are you going for, Simon?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I think Forest have won 4 out of 5 at home, and they really played well against Brighton. They just kind of blew them away at the weekend. I've learned not to underestimate Brentford. They seem to score in every game. I think they've scored in something like 11 out of 12, and they've scored in all 6 of their last 6 away games. I like both teams to score. I think they both score and they both concede. I can't really split them, to be honest, so I'm just going to go for both teams to score in that one.
All right, so we've got both teams to score. Yeah, I like the Nottingham win, to be honest with you, and then we've got Nottingham draw no bet. QPR versus Barnsley. QPR 2.15, draw 3.6, Barnsley 3.8. Again, not much between these two teams. Another set of hit or missed teams, but we have seen goals the last 2 times they've met. 5, to be honest, in both matches. Just wondering whether to follow trend here, going for something like the over 2.5 goals. Certainly both teams to score 1.79, but these are leans right now. I'm going to see if either of you can convince me. What are you going for, Simon?
Yeah, you just said follow the trend, and that's exactly what I've got written here.
Oh yeah,
QPR, unpredictable, as are Barnsley. They've only won 1 in 7. So I'm going to go for the goals market here. And both teams to score in 8 out of 9. All of their last 7 at Loftus Road have been both teams to score. They've only kept 2 clean sheets all season. Against Barnsley is very good. So maybe a lean towards them to win, but I think the goals market is really strong. So I'm looking at both teams to score at 1.79. I think that's a fantastic bet.
Yeah, all right. I think you've convinced me. Well, I'm sticking with both teams to score, and maybe I think I prefer that one than the over 2.5 goals. Do you think there is a chance of a sort of a 1-1 draw here, the draw being the outcome, Simon?
Yeah, but they're very unpredictable. I just think I'm going to go edge with safety and just go for both teams to score. That's it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Martin, what are you going for?
I quite like both teams to score here as well. I'm staying well away from the outrights on this game. It's a horrible one to try to choose. QPR are having a bit of a revival of late, won 3 of their last 4 games, but they have been poor at home all season. Whereas Barnsley have got a great away record. So I think definitely leave the outrights. It's a skip for me, but I do like the idea of the both teams to score.
All right, skip for you. Rotherham versus Brighton. Brighton will be keen to bounce back. They are in that title race, 5 points below Newcastle. This is a must-win. Rotherham, as I keep saying each week, have already packed up and are planning their summer holidays. 2-0 Aston Villa loss. I'm sort of looking at Brighton's 1.5, not a bad bet, to be honest with you, or bad price, sorry. Draw 4.33, Rotherham I'm looking at just playing Brighton -1 in this match, 1.82. I think they're going to want to bounce back. They've got to win here, and I think they're going to do it in style. What do you like, Simon?
I'm a bit more cautious. I've been going on about Brighton feeling the pressure, every week really, and I think that possibly they are. They also lost Shane Duffy, who was, a big loss for them, a central defender at the weekend. Is absolutely crucial in this match in terms of teams' confidence. Could this be the one shock result? Because we see a shock result in the Championship every week. The away win at 1.5, it's small when you think Brighton have lost 3 out of 5 away the last 5 games. So I'm not very confident. I'm certainly not confident in the handicap. So I'm just going to skip that one.
Are you? Well, I don't know. That whether this. I tell you what, if there is a shock here, I'm going to demand to see your crystal ball. That's for sure, to predict something like that. But I think they're going to bounce back. To be honest with you, what, Martin? Do you think we're going to see a shock here? Will Rotherham beat second place Brighton?
I don't think so. I think Brighton are going to bounce back here. My best bet in recent weeks has been betting on Rotherham to lose. So I'm definitely not going to stop doing that now when they're playing Brighton, who, although they did lose 3-0 in their last game, I think this is the perfect game for them to rediscover their mojo. Away at Rotherham is the perfect away trip. They're the league's whipping boys. They're 18 points below safety. Perfect game for Brighton. 1.5. I put it in an accumulator all day long, but I'm staying away from the handicaps because I think they could win it by just 1 goal.
Yeah, well, -1 because it's the Asian handicap, so you will get your you'll get your money back if they win by 2 goals. Obviously, your bet wins. I tell you what, though, if Brighton do not win this match, then I think they're in trouble, and I think their first place hopes, or even top 2 hopes, could go. So anyway, I'm doing Brighton -1. Sheffield Wednesday versus Burton. Sheffield 1.67, draw 3.8, Burton 6.5. I like the Sheffield win 1.67. I think that's quite tasty at that price. Burton are just not strong on the road at all. They're just 1 win in 5, 3 draws. Straight Sheffield Wednesday win for me. Martin.
Sheffield Wednesday are back. They're not in the naughty corner anymore.
Woohoo!
That was another amazing result that I don't think anyone could have predicted.
No.
Thumping Norwich 5-1. They're very, very strong at Hillsborough. They've won 12 already at home this season out of 17 games. Burton are terrible on the road. They've only won twice away all season. Just think this just looks like a Sheffield Wednesday win all day long. 1.66 looks a great bet to me.
Yeah, not bad at all. Taking that one to the bank, hopefully. Simon, what are you going for?
Yeah, I agree. I think, Burton aren't in bad form. I think they've picked up 9 points out of a possible 18, but we're very lucky to escape with a draw at Bristol City on Saturday. I know Bristol City missed a penalty and they made a lot of chances. They've got in terms of firepower. If both teams play like they did at the weekend, then Wednesday will definitely win this. So I'm going to agree with you now. I'm going to go for the Wednesday win. I think that's a good bet.
Wow. All right. We've got some agreements here. Fantastic stuff. Reading versus Newcastle, the final match. Newcastle 2, draw 3.6, Reading 4. Reading were in 5th place. Obviously, Newcastle in first. Must win for Newcastle. If Brighton, they're only 5 points ahead. So definitely must win. Newcastle haven't lost in 12 matches. They're a strong team. And I think it's tough because there's not much to split it. But I think just because it's a must win for Newcastle, I think that they'll pull it out the bag, and I think I'm going to go with just a straight Newcastle win. What do you think, Simon?
I agree with you. I really do. Reading is strong at home. 12. Newcastle's away record is miles better than anyone else. They've won 13 away, which I think is anyone else. They've scored 32 goals. They've conceded only 12. They create a lot of chances, and Dwight Gale should be back for this game as well. I have something on Dwight Gale to score at any time at even money. There is a possibility of both teams to score because I think Newcastle haven't kept a clean sheet in a way. they've got far more firepower, and I really think they're going to start kind of doing the business now. They've just beaten Brighton, they've just beaten Huddersfield. There'll be bags of confidence in the squad. I expect them to win, so I'm getting on the Newcastle juggernaut, an away win in that one. Yeah.
There we go. I was expecting you to say something different for some reason. So I was always like, And what do you go for, Martin?
I'm still on the Newcastle juggernaut. I've been on it for the last couple of weeks, and I've been very impressed.
Show off.
No, I had to get that one in there. Well, I tipped them to beat Huddersfield last weekend, and they did. They convincingly in the end.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's nice to have that recognition. But I mean, in their last 2 games, they've beaten second place Brighton and third place Huddersfield. So I don't think they're going to stop now at 5th place Reading. I think actually of all the teams in the top 6, Reading are looking the poorest at the moment because they sort of lack the firepower going forward. So I fancy Newcastle to outgun them on the road. 2.0, double your money on Newcastle. Looks a very good bet.
Yeah, I'm also, sort of got on my notes here, obviously, both score, but both have really good defences, just 12 conceded apiece. Do you think this is going to be a sort of a 1-0? Are both teams to score no, or a sort of a clean sheet bet, as opposed to the both teams to score? Were you mentioning something about that, Simon?
Yeah, Newcastle, I don't think they've kept a clean sheet in the last 8.
Okay.
So, you know, even though Reading haven't perhaps got the firepower of the top 6 sides, you know, they are prone to giving a goal away. But I just think that they'll just score more, you know. So I'm with Newcastle on that.
Yeah. All right. Now comes our 2-team accumulator bet / parlay bet, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and your banker / best bet. Martin, going to start with you, Mr. Champion of betting right now. He's got the top record, Simon, from the best bets. He only lost 1 bet over the weekend.
Basking.
Oh, wow.
But it's tough at the top. It's tough to hang on, as several teams have.
Well, 2 weeks in a row now, Martin.
It's doing good. We're doing good. Thank you. I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday. I was thinking Newcastle before the start of the video, but just while talking about it, I've been convinced that it'll be Sheffield Wednesday. So I'm going to put them in a double with Brighton as well. Okay.
All right. What are you going to go for, Simon?
Yeah, my double is Fulham and Leeds, both teams to score. And Aston Villa +1 on the Asian. And my banker bet is Newcastle to win.
Nice.
Newcastle to win. Ooh, I think I'm going to go for both teams to score on Blackburn Rovers versus Cardiff City and the Sheffield Wednesday win combined, with my banker being the Nottingham win. There we go. What was your banker, Martin?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I like Nottingham Forest draw no bet does look good to me as well.
All right. There we go. Wonderful stuff, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be back on Thursday, where we will preview week 37. So stay tuned. Thank you for your bets, guys, and everyone at home. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.